All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this weekly Wednesday live stream. I'm just going to make sure that you guys can hear me before we get started. Actually, I think I might have switched the microphones. Let me double check on this. No, we're good.
Oh, we good. Okay.
All right. If you guys can hear, you know what? Maybe this turn, though. If you guys can hear us, please let us know in the comments. But besides that, happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to these weekly Wednesday live streams. We do them every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Time, usually to discuss art, something related to art, the business side of things, hot topics in the industry, or just in entertainment in general. Like today, we're going to be talking about AI-generated art one more time, and then I feel like we can kind of move past this subject. And if you have any comments or questions during the live stream, please put at vonnart or at schwa. That way we can see it very easily as we're going back and forth between the conversation chat and the drawing today. So today I have Josh once again as moderator.
Surprise!
And he will be helping kind of forward the messages over. And then I want this to be a conversation, so please add any of your opinions, even if they are not in agreement with me, especially as we talk about AI stuff. I think having healthy discord is something that we need more in society, so let's have a conversation about it. Really quick, I just wanted to show some things that I'm working on before we jump into it and let people join in. Oh, and also, if you want to put where you're watching from, that way Josh can do some shout outs and we can get it going. But before we do that, this is the drawing that I've been working on. It should be finished tonight, I would think. I'm going to post it later. I just didn't really like how I did the smoke down here, so I'm going to redo that area. This has been fun to work on, but it has been a weird last 2 weeks. I think AI art has really like deflated my inspiration or like my momentum moving forward. So it's been nice to kind of get back into drawing. So I'm working on 4 currently, and I'll kind of just give a glimpse for all of you watching today. So here's my Death Maiden, as I've been calling her. This one's my more personal one, so I'm going to get back into doing more personal pieces. So this one's my Baby Chase from my Swordplay novel, and I am going to spend a lot of time drawing little, I know it's kind of hard to see from far away, but see all these little like nook and cranny foliage and like little leaves and clovers and ground walkable moss stuff. I'm going to really try to fill the entire space of this drawing, and the idea behind this is, well, the character is slowly losing his eyesight, and the first thing to go is color. So I like the idea that everything around him is like this lush, beautiful surrounding, but he can't see any of it, like in color. And this was supposed to be my idea of like returning to color. I think next year I'm really going to try to push going back into color a bit more. I've had a really great run with pencil, and I'm still going to be doing pencil my whole life for sure. But I think I just totally exalted color completely, and I'm ready to bring it back into the scene. So the idea for this one is he will be in color. So I'm going to scan this image once it's finished, put it into Photoshop, and I'm going to color him and his wardrobe. And it's the idea that even though he's in color, he can't see the world around him in color. So I'm having fun with that drawing right now. It's very tedious, but I think that's one of my personal strengths when it comes to drawing, is that I'm just very patient. I can just be drawing for hours. And then Josh, if you could hand me the 2 that are to your left.
Oh, yeah.
So then these are my dailies right now. So essentially I'm working on a card deck and a tarot card deck. So every day I try to put an hour in, and then I post the progress on Patreon. So if you want to see every update from me every day, every work day, you can join my Patreon. There's a link below. But here is, this right now is the King of Clubs, and he is probably like 40% finished. I really tried working with his shape for a while, because if you've noticed, it may look a little weird, but it's because this is half of the drawing. So with all my card deck drawings, I draw half of it, and then I scan it, I flip it in Photoshop, well, I copy paste, flip it in Photoshop, and then I basically stitch it together so it's one kind of solid illustration. So this will be the King of Clubs, and then my other one is my tarot deck, which a lot of people have asked me, am I working on one? Yes, I am working on one. Will it be finished this year? Absolutely not. It'll still be quite a few years away. I try to do one a month for my Patreon backers, and since there's 78 cards, I have 11 finished. We have about 5 years to go, which is okay. I'm, like I said, pretty patient, but people in the comments not always the most patient. So this is the Knight of Cups. So this is where he is currently. I have a little few Easter eggs in here as well. I'm not going to reveal what they are till it's finished, but I'm pretty excited about this one. I like the meaning behind the card. I try to do a lot of research behind each card before I just dive into them. And this one specifically really spoke to me, especially in this time where I was really feeling down about the art world and this age of commercialism and AI generated art and NFTs and all this stuff that I'm just not super into. So the meaning behind this has been really good for me to like get back into it. So yeah, those are the drawings that I'm working on. And then today, I took inspiration. I posted in our Discord, which you can join below. But let me see if you can see it on screen at all. So we have a ton of dandelions in the backyard. And I'm not kidding when I say a ton of them. And they literally came like overnight. There are like hundreds. And they just sprouted like right away.
Yeah, we were outside yesterday and there were not that many out there. So it's weird. It's so crazy how overnight they can do that. Yeah.
And I don't know if you can see, Josh. Look at all the white flowers on the edge.
Oh wait, what? Where did those come from?
I know.
What is happening?
So Wisconsin went from like 50-degree consistent all through April to Fahrenheit. Could you imagine?
Celsius.
To like high 80s this week, and it came out of nowhere. It literally was like mid 50s to high 80s.
Today's like tapping 90.
Mm-hmm.
That's how. Yeah, I don't know what happened. We went from so cold to this within a week.
For real. I'm going to be bold today, too. I'm going to be working with a Bic mechanical pencil. I think this is something that I used to joke around a lot with. You don't need, like, fancy drawing tools, in my opinion. You can just work with the bare basics and still come up with cool things. So this is what I'm going to be working with today. And like I said, we're going to have those conversations. And let's get going.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's get to the hellos.
Yes.
Oscar says, hello from below. Ready to go. Hey, yo. Hey, Oscar. Do you like Cheer Squad?
What the heck was that?
Anna Maria, hello.
Hey, Oscar.
Good to see ya.
Hey, Anna Maria.
Oscar says, love your hair today. I love your hair today, Josh, especially. You both look so fresh. Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you, Oscar.
Tim did his hair today. I'm very impressed, actually.
I literally hovered over our bathroom sink upstairs and took a buzzer and just
you did a really good job.
Well, thank you.
Along with the dandelions, I come upstairs and Tim's hair is different. Everything's just changing. Kneaded Eraser says, hello from the Netherlands. Hello.
Make this smaller. Hello,
Jens, hello from Denmark. Good to see you, Jens. Oh, that art guy. Hey, guys, it's been a while. Antonio's from Massachusetts. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Oh, hello, Antonio.
Good to see you. Christian, hello from Upper Austria. Hello, Christian.
Hello, Christian.
Jen says the artist stream is having idea for a design and finish it within a week.
Wait, what?
The artist stream is having ideas for a design and finishing it within a week.
Oh, I mean, I try to kind of hold myself to that standard. Like when I'm in a good working mindset, I feel like that's usually what I aim for, like one a week.
Yeah.
Well, I love drawing, so for me it doesn't feel like work most of the time. I don't know. If I'm working on it enough, it should only take about a week.
So you've been on top of it lately. Rossi, hello guys, happy to see you.
Hello.
Hi, Rossi. And then Jen says, regarding the dandelions, there's a reason people mow them with a vengeance.
No, I love dandelions. I'm like too into dandelions.
Uncomfortably
Get out of here.
to dandelions.
I know I already talked to my friend, my best friend Kat. We're going to make not only dandelion tea, but we're going to do our best to make dandelion wine this year. So I finally found a tutorial.
I did not like the tea. I do apologize.
Which is weird. Okay, so dandelion tea, if you guys know how to make it, you don't use the green part at all because that will make it very bitter. You only use the yellow flower parts, and then if you are comfortable with the taste, you can use the root. But I made Josh just the yellow part, and he still did not like it. So I don't think there's any hope that he'll like the dandelion wine either.
Yeah.
Apparently, I read online it tastes like honey, but we'll see if you're into that.
I love the idea of it.
I love that for you.
And I liked the concept of just getting them from the backyard, but...
Yeah, it's so cute. I got the gazebo up yesterday, and that is one of my favorite drawing places, so I might even move outside today for a little bit.
I know the humidity is always... That's like the hard part is the humidity, because your paper gets all weird. Oh, hi, Astrid. Speaking of outside, Astrid has been begging us all throughout the day to go outside. And we'll let her out throughout the day, but apparently that's still not good enough. Yeah.
What's that song? The Never Enough from Greatest Showman.
Oh yeah.
That's
Never
Astrid's
enough.
wife. Hi, Astrid.
Yeah,
Hi.
you have so many things to say about this right now.
It sounds like she's begging for help, like she is trapped. Hi.
Astrid. Oh, I know where you want to take me.
Yeah.
She tries to walk right. She walks right to the back door. Oh, Felix is here. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Felix.
Hey, Felix.
How are you guys doing? How's Wednesday treating everyone so far? How's this week been? Because mine's actually been pretty good compared to last week. Definitely.
Oh, yeah. Tim was in a place last week. Jen says, you sure they didn't just put... Oops, sorry, I'm mixing up too. You sure they didn't just put the honey...
Look at your computer.
Oh,
That way you're not, like, trying... Because this will... Yeah.
Jen says, you sure they didn't just put the honey in their dandelion tea?
Facts, actually. You know what? I'll report back after we make the dandelion wine. I know it takes a while, though. So you have to ferment it for a certain amount of time. So it might even be, like, 3 months minimum. So I'll get back to you in August, September.
I mean... Let's see. I'm definitely going to make a good sangria this summer, though. Like a really fruity sangria.
How do you make sangria?
It's like you mix wine with maybe like soda and then fruits and...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
My Auntie Vet makes sangria. What am I thinking?
Yeah. Usually people use like Sprite or something in it. Anything carbonated. Janisha, good to see you. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Janisha.
Sad Astrid. She's fine. She's just
fine.
A spoiled baby.
You can't see her. She's like lying on the bed looking sad.
Gosh.
We'll take you out after the stream. How about that?
Astrid.
Give us 2 hours.
We've been trying to do our meals outside while it's nice now. Because I feel like we don't enjoy outside as much as we could.
Oh, I feel like, is that giving a shadow? Oh, that is. You know what? I can't have that light on during the streams. Did you see that? Here, look. Do you see these, like, shadow bars?
It's not awful, but...
I'm not a
fan. I know
fan.
you hate harsh shadow lines.
Well, I feel like if I was watching a drawing stream, I'd want to see the drawing, like, as clear as possible. Personally.
Yeah. Every time we go eat outside, Astrid now joins us. Casper sometimes, if he's feeling it. But it's cute because she will sit at the table with us. So at least she doesn't, like, run around too crazy outside. But
True.
Still, she can't be out there alone. Felix says, reminder to everyone to stream Heartstopper. My mental health depends on there being a season 2.
That's the show that I almost started watching. Well, okay, I thought we were going to start with AI generated art, but maybe we'll talk about entertainment first. So, speaking of, like, shows that I really want people to watch, or, like, TV, or movies, I mean, in this case. I had Josh watch Gone Girl yesterday. It is one of my favorite mystery movies, if not my absolute favorite mystery movie. And I know a lot of you might think I'm crazy if you've seen it, but Rosamund Pike's depiction of Amy is one of my favorite characters ever. I love Amy. I'm not going to say exactly why, because I think that would spoil the movie, and I think the movie is best going in knowing nothing. So Josh didn't watch a trailer. He didn't know anything besides the fact that I really like this movie, and I really wanted him to watch it. And
I haven't say much because I don't want to spoil, but...
Yeah, don't spoil anything. What do you think?
It was a really good movie, and it had me at the edge of my seat. But... And no, I can't, because it's no, you spoil.
Can't. Yeah,
it was a really good movie.
Oh, beautiful analysis. Thank you, Josh.
Right.
I think for me,
my review.
I've always been very attracted to villains. I don't know if I was conditioned that way because of Disney and my upbringing with loving the villain characters more than hero. Like, I didn't watch Sleeping Beauty for Aurora. I watched it for Maleficent, you know? And I always found them far more interesting, but you rarely get to see a villain's plan, like, come to fruition, like, fully. And I'm not, without spoiling anything, it was really satisfying, especially the ending. I know Josh was, like, mortified, but I loved it. I love it so much. It's a long one. It's 2.5 hours, but honestly, it doesn't feel that way. A lot of modern movies try to push that 2-hour limit, and you feel that 2-hour plus limit. I mean, watching the new Batman, I was like, okay, wrap it up.
Well, this is a movie.
Here we go.
It was over 2 hours, but I actually want it more.
Right?
Yeah, I was like, no. And then the credits happened, and I was like,
Well, what's funny is this could have easily been a limited series, but I'm actually kind of glad to see it in a movie format because so much is going to limited series or even like longer series now. But we just started the show on HBO called The Staircase. I'm very excited about this.
We can watch that tonight. When the next... Wait, we can watch 2 more episodes, right?
Yep.
Okay, good.
If any of you... This is one of those I haven't seen the trailer either. I'm a big fan, or I'm a big like advocate of not watching trailers before actually seeing the thing. I think trailers give away too much nowadays, and it's supposed to like show some of the best parts. But if you go in not knowing anything... It really is more of a fun unraveling for yourself, especially a mystery show. Like, I don't want to know anything. I don't want any presumptions. I don't want any, like, clues. I want to, like, figure it out on my own throughout.
They did really... The mystery was really well kept in that movie.
Oh,
until, like, they felt it was necessary to show it then. Mm-hmm. Let's see, just catching up some messages. Jen says, the week has been good. I finished some character redraws of their faces. Yes.
Hey, good job.
Oscar says, very technical question right away. Where is your tension in the grip? Are you pinching hard with your fingers while keeping your wrist loose? Or the other way around? Steady wrist and loose fingers.
Oscar, I love the artist questions right away. So when I'm drawing like this is a very much like loose freeform drawing. I'm holding pretty tight, and I would say, actually, I almost have to like observe myself authentically rather than just say it. I would say a lot of it is in the tips of my fingers. Now,
probably not the best for...
Not the best, and I also need to show that like I'm not pushing super hard. Like my fingers aren't having the blood rush to the fingertip. It's not that hard.
White knuckles.
What I'm just like, can you imagine? I'm just shaking the whole time. Academically, you're taught that you're supposed to draw with your elbow and your arm. So bigger motions, it's not as chicken scratchy. And that is something that is important to at least try out. But when I'm doing these small, kind of more intricate, detail-heavy drawings where I'm not really focusing on the gesture, it's literally like doing detail stuff out the gate. This is not a way I would normally recommend drawing because this implies that everything is like perfect in my mind of how I want to get it down on paper. I think it's good to do some gesture stuff or do some thumbnailing first. I did like a little quick thumbnail on my iPad before the stream just to like get an idea of what possibly I might be drawing. But I concluded this morning, I wanted to have fun with it. I love drawing, as I call it, spaghetti hair. I don't know what the actual term is, but I'm going to keep calling it spaghetti hair because that's what I like calling it. And I'm just going to draw some dandelions around here. It's going to be a very simple drawing, but I think it's because I really wanted to discuss with you guys, like the AI stuff and just have a good time. So normally I would say I do like starting more gestural, so with my arm more, and I'm holding the pencil more loose. I know... who was it? There's an artist online that he holds his pencil very far away, and it's definitely more like using your arm to draw, not your wrist and your fingers. And I know my hero, Alan Williams, I think for a lot of the drawings, he'll hold it even more like sideways, especially when he's doing shading. It'll be a lot of like this motioning. It depends on personal preference. I don't like ever stating like there's only one way to draw. So whatever feels good for you. And I do think, though, it's good to at least experiment with a few different ones to even know if you like it or not.
Antonio says, since I've last seen you guys, I've been working on enhancing my art style. The style I'm going for is similar to Caravaggio. Did I say that right?
Caravaggio.
Or more specifically, Robert Ferry.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, you should post it in the Discord. I want to see what you're working on.
EJ Dare says, I'm a bit stressed because I'm determined to do Mermaid the whole month. My time management is all over the place. Maybe I will skip a few prompts to stay sane.
Yeah, I did that. Actually, I think it was last year. I did every day. I did a different mermaid based on the numbers. So 1, 11, 14, 18, I would like draw the number first and then make a mermaid out of that. So if you want to see it, I actually have a whole YouTube video dedicated to showing off not only all the finished results, but I did them all on the iPad. So I uploaded them. Well, first I like edited all of them. So you see 6 at a time. But you can watch that right now if you want.
Jen says also the fermentation thing is a mood. There are so many things that require fermentation. Like I looked up honey cake, and it is it's month fermentation honey dough before you can use it.
Wow, really? Geez. A month? Wait, for what was that?
Honey dough.
Honey, really? A month?
Sounds good though. I remember growing up, we made homemade kombucha. And that was also fermenting, but you get a mushroom.
What?
Yeah, it's fermented mushroom. And it's really weird because the cap part just floats. It's really kind of creepy looking. But then you can actually you can take some mushroom from the one and make other batches of it too.
Wait, kombucha's made from mushrooms?
Yeah.
How did I not know this?
Yeah, we made homemade kombucha.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Oh.
Another thing I really liked too was kvass. It was called
kvass.
And it was a fermented soda. It almost tasted like a healthy version of Coke. And it was really good though. Kvass. But it had an issue with it would get really carbonated and explode sometimes. Antonio says, I feel like the whole thing between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp has brought more attention to the movie Gone Girl. Actually does not surprise me.
Oh, is it really? Oh, actually, yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but you know what? Maybe that does make sense to me, actually.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, but well, no, we'll keep personal opinions on Amber Heard out. Not the biggest fan.
Ash C says, how do you make your characters so decadent and filled with intricate details? Also, I highly recommend Heartstopper. It's really good. Can't wait to see where this drawing goes.
Okay, wait, there were 3 questions in there, I feel.
How do you make your characters so decadent and filled with intricate details?
So I think a lot of the times when I'm working with like trying to create this fantastical, it kind of usually has like an Amano watercolor feeling to it. Try to let your fantasticalness take over. So if you're doing characters with long hair, kind of like what we're doing today, or like with a bunch of jewelry or gaudy design, let it be nonsensical. Let it be a little playful. I think the best fantasy art tends to be the most fun. I will always defend Final Fantasy X's concept art, like, to my death.
Oh, yeah.
Lulu, I love her design. I know it's crazy. Love her design. And I think Tetsuya Nomura's highlights when he was working as a concept artist still is, but he's more of like a director and more like in charge of the art lead stuff now, more than like actually doing well, maybe not. I shouldn't say that. I don't know that for sure. But when he did Final Fantasy 10, 13, obviously 7's a big one for people, they were just very playful. And you could just see him having fun with it. And I want to see more of that in fantasy. And honestly, I've been getting it. Elden Ring, which we'll talk about in a minute, was great. It was visually one of the best fantasy games I've ever played as like a world. And then I've been reading Witch Hat Atelier. I even got Josh into reading a little bit of it too. I'm on book 4, and it just keeps getting better. I love the way that magic is represented, and if you haven't read it or heard of it, I'm telling you, I know it's a manga, and you might think like anime tropes or whatever, but it is so good. It is really that good. And every time it pulls into maybe a little bit of an anime trope with like overexcited little girl moment or something that you're like, it drops it like immediately. Like the next page, it's already done. So I'm telling you, it's so worth it. Okay, what was the second question?
Just mentioning Heartbreaker show.
I will watch it.
Sorry.
I'm in such a mood for these mysteries right now, so I'll probably wait till after I get this out of my system. Like I was in a comedy mode for a hot second, maybe because like I needed some joy in my life. And I was watching.
Cut you really down.
Yeah, I was watching like Big Lebowski and a lot of like these 90s comedy movies. Some of them not that great, but some of them they have charm to some of them. And was there a third question or no?
Nope.
Okay.
Ejadair says, I loved the book, Gone Girl, but the story made me so anxious that I'm on the fence if I want to see the movie. It's an awesome story, though. Definitely tense at points, but...
Oh, it's so tense. I could not imagine reading that. I would be, like, sweating, I think. Like, my palms would be clamming up.
That's the one. Okay.
Oh, Last Girl on the Train? Is that it? Her other book?
That's what I was looking up right now really quick because I wanted to see...
Oh, she wrote Sharp Objects?
Yeah, actually, well, yeah, someone...
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Who mentioned that? I was pre-reading this. So Emily said Sharp Objects from the author of Gone Girl, also pretty good. Which I liked Sharp Objects.
Aesthetically, I thought it was awesome. I love the music choices too. But
yeah, the series.
I won't spoil anything. I was not crazy about the ending twist thing.
I liked it.
I could see it possibly working, but I personally didn't feel like it was believable for me.
I think I read Dark Places. I know I read one Jillian book. I don't know which one I did.
You don't know?
I don't think it stuck out to me.
Oh,
definitely Gone Girl though probably was Jillian's best.
Yeah, Gone Girl's so good.
Or most interesting story.
I'd be curious to see what they changed for the movie.
I think Sharp Objects was more predictable than Gone Girl, but I thought it was still good.
There's a few songs that are in that show that I still listen to today. Some of the orchestral tracks.
Oh, yeah.
And heck, even that, was it the opening song? Yeah, opening song's really good too, right?
No, the opening song, they did that kind of 60s...
Was it the trailer? Trailer song.
Jazz bar kind of sound.
It was, remember the trailer Sharp Objects where it's that dong, dong,
oh, yeah.
Dong.
I like that song. I listen to that too.
Yeah, that was great.
Jen says, did you watch the Sonic movie?
No, and I don't plan to.
Probably not.
I'm a big believer, actually, and we'll talk about this when we talk about the AI generated stuff, that I believe things like Marvel movies and Disney remakes, they're just not for me. I've come to the conclusion they're definitely not for me, and if I don't want to see them, I can't be supporting it. So I can't be throwing money at it. So like Sonic movie, probably not going to get my support financially. You know what, though? I have heard some people watch it ironically as like a comedy, and they say it's pretty funny if you watch it with that intention going in.
I'm guessing that's what they meant it to be. I don't know.
I guess if any of you have seen it, would you say that you went to watch it with serious intention or ironically? And then to both of those, was it good? Because I feel like you watch the Twilight movies ironically, and that's what makes them good for you.
Yeah. I still do. Watch them ironically.
You saved yourself at the end. I still love them.
I
mean, ironically.
Elena says, can someone tell me what movie they were talking about just before? I missed the name.
Oh, Gone Girl. It's a David Fincher film. I'm a big fan of David Fincher. I mean, I have been for since I was like early high school.
Yeah, Gone Girl.
He also has a really...
It was really good.
He also has a very good composition style to his films. I feel like he's really good at knowing when to pan, when to keep the shot steady, and when to cut. I feel like a lot of... Well, even I watched the new Mike Myers show on Netflix, and it just feels like sporadic sometimes. And then this is a big problem I have with a lot of entertainment right now, is there seems to be a lack of care in their shots. The Mike Myers show, there's a girl in the backseat of a van, and she has a lot of verbiage on a t-shirt, but she's holding a blanket. It'll cut to her and then like the guy driving and back to her constantly, and the blanket is just teleporting up and down, and like no one cared to even see in the final cut that this blanket is just crazy. This happens in more popular ways, like with Game of Thrones and the Starbucks cup, which I think is just abhorrent. I can't believe things like that happen. It's, a mistake here and there, but it seems like everywhere. Even Euphoria, which I think is usually very well shot. There's a scene with the breakup between, what's her name? Kat and Sam, is his name?
I think so, yeah.
The boyfriend, and they're at a diner, season 2, and she's wearing a necklace. The necklace, if you watch it, it'll keep flipping on itself constantly, and it drives me nuts. I might be one of the only people that notice this kind of stuff. They're called continuity errors, and it drives me up a wall. I feel like if I wasn't an artist or a film critic, I would be working on set somewhere in Hollywood as just a continuity error observer, whatever that job title is.
You are super aware of those. You catch them really quick too.
I don't know why it drives me nuts too. Like, it literally takes me out. I'm like unimmersed instantly.
I feel like they really should make sure that things are kept consistent, though.
Or even on the editing
floor. Part of the immersion, I guess, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my rant about that.
Antonio says, not sure if it was intentional on your part, but critics of Alfonso Mucca during his time called his pieces spaghetti or macaroni here.
Did he really? Oh, that's actually really cool. I didn't know that. Oh, I love that.
Macaroni hair is kind of cute, too.
Macaroni hair. You're right. Did I take a picture of a dandelion sideways? You did. Good job, Tim.
Always prepared.
Always prepared.
Rune Wonderland says, I had a very intense day. My customer had some sort of allergic seizure while I was serving them.
Oh my gosh. What?
Are they okay? I'm guessing they're okay?
Did they have to go to the hospital?
Probably, yeah, if they're having seizures.
Well, I hope they're doing okay. Oh my gosh.
That's had to be a little terrifying. Did they have like an EpiPen or something on them to at least alleviate right away, or do you guys just have to wait for the ambulance to show up?
Right? Like, I would hope they would have something. They have to, in case there's...
Who else do we know? Oh, was it Jake has issues with... Who was it?
Well, Andrew has an EpiPen.
No, it's when we know that, like, never carries an EpiPen, and I'm like, that gives me so much panic, because if you have those, I feel like you should...
Oh, like, carry them around with you everywhere. Yeah. I mean, I do think you should.
I'm sure it's not convenient, but...
This chair. I hear it squeaking.
Is it mine or yours?
No, I think it's mine.
Oh, you have the squeaky.
I need to get... Yeah. I'll get a better chair eventually.
We need some office upgrades, but it's fine.
Put it in the complaint box.
Right. HR. Elena says, I haven't really drawn at all for over 3 weeks now. It's the longest time I've not drawn, probably since forever, so I'm going to try to do some loose sketching during this. Oh,
good.
Good to hear. I know you've been talking work's been stressful for you too right now with teaching, so I'm sure that probably has a little bit too. You're just mentally drained out.
Well, a lot of my original intention with doing the streams was for people to draw alongside me. I'm supposed to be like the art friend in college that, you know, we just work and chat at the same time.
His name's Tim. He's just relatable, really chill to hang out with.
Seems very aggressive about movies, though.
Movies and AI art?
He just really does not like AI art. He's a really nice guy otherwise, but man, get him talking about that and, ugh. Oh,
we loved him, though.
Love to stand.
Love to stand. Oh, God. Chloros says, have you seen Whisper of the Heart from Ghibli? I love that movie. Of course. I watched it yesterday and cried so many times. It's super wholesome. No villains, though, but there's a fat cat. I love that movie. That's the one that starts with the Country Home song, right?
Is that the one that's... Which one is better, Cat Returns or Whisper of the Heart? I remember
Whisper of the Heart's better. Cat Returns is the sequel, and it's not as good.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, no, Whisper of the Heart's where Country Roads, that's what it starts with.
Does it really?
Home. Yeah, it's really cool.
It's been a hot second since I've watched it, admittedly.
I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home.
You know what's funny is I didn't even know what that song was before we went to Colorado.
Yeah.
And admittedly, I like it.
I love that song. Well, my family's from West Virginia, so that was like on our road trips to go visit family, my parents would always play Country Roads as we're like driving through the hollers of West Virginia.
I mean, that's kind of cute, actually.
Right? It was immersive. Janisha says, it's been a slow week, just finished up semester, and I'm slowly getting back into my personal workflow. It's the best feeling ever when things finally slow down for a second.
Yeah.
At least for me. I know you like when things are a little bit more pressure.
Well, I think I do well under pressure. I don't know if I necessarily like being under pressure, but I think I do perform well under pressure.
The most fulfilling or most satisfying times though for me are when you can like sit down after a week of craziness and just like do something you enjoy doing. Actually, I feel like you really enjoy it even more because you feel like you 100% earned it.
That's how I always feel after conventions.
Yeah, actually, like, always. The day after a convention, I'm staying in my pajamas and just enjoying this day. Mm-hmm. Felix says, Heartstopper is so different from other gay movies or series. I've been thinking about it all the time since watching it, then read the books. then watched it again. Yeah, Felix, you've been on this, so we definitely need to watch it sometime.
Trust me, it's on my watch list. I will be viewing it.
Antonio says, I posted a few of my practice drawings in stream follow along if you want to check them out.
I know, I feel like that song's in my head now.
I love the version in that movie, though, because it's this chorus version of it. It's really pretty.
I feel like I'll have to listen to it again. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, I'll play it for you after the stream, so we don't get... What's that?
Copyright infringement.
DMCA or whatever they call it.
What's DMCA?
That's like the music strike thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it had a title.
Oh, no, one of the streamers I watch calls it the YMCA. Let's see, stream. Oh. I know you're drawing. Here's some of Antonio's stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Doing studies. Ooh.
Caravaggio was an oil painter.
Oh.
For those of you who don't know.
I've been focusing on life drawing skills.
Well, keep at it.
Yeah.
It's looking good.
Keep sharing, too, on the Discord as you go.
Yeah, definitely keep focusing on that form and shadow. I think that's such an important lesson to learn.
Felix says it is about teenagers, but if you're a bit older, it definitely makes you reflect on your teenage years in a way that no other piece of media has done for me. Yeah, definitely going to watch this. I'm curious. Yeah. I didn't actually know it was a gay series.
Oh, I definitely knew that.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've seen it personally. Maybe it's...
Isn't it the British one?
Maybe. I've not seen it showing up in my... Is that on Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I've not seen it even show up and, like, recommend it for you.
What?
I guess Netflix doesn't know I'm gay.
Surprising.
Right. You would think with the amount of Grey's Anatomy and...
You would think at this point when Netflix opened, it'd be like, oh, what up, honey?
Oh.
And then, like, the recommended is like, listen, sister, we picked these out for you.
Oh, my God. Oscar says, I watched... Or wait, no, I don't want to skip anyone. Here we go. Rueden says, I watched Twilight because I missed the feeling of reading the books for the first time. I loved them as a teenager, and I read all the books so fast. Yeah, I read the first two. I didn't finish them.
Same.
Admittedly. But I do love the movies.
Wait, you didn't finish the books?
I love the movies,
or you didn't finish the series?
The books.
Oh, I actually read the first and second, like, all the way through.
Yeah, I read the first and second, too.
Oh, that's
and I stopped.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant, like, series. Like, series, I think instantly of movies or, like, entertainment now. But, yeah, the book series I didn't finish. Yeah, I like the movies, ironically, though.
I mean, they are horrible. I'm trying to think of which one I even like best. I don't even think I know. Probably the second or third one.
There's something cozy about where the location it's filmed, because it's this like really pretty wooded town. So I think that part of it, there's the aesthetic side of it that I like, and I like the filter they use in those movies too. That white kind of filter.
Okay, we need to move on. We cannot talk about
really great
good filter. Get out of here.
Just the cinematics in those movies to me are
that weird like blue filter over everything.
Top-notch cinematics.
Or them running.
I'm really bad at keeping track of the timestamps, though. I feel like our conversations are too over the map. We're trying to do chapters on the YouTube videos, you know?
I feel like you should just, for sure, chapter breaks for, like, questions that seem prevalent.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's too many topics. It's like, I don't know how to timestamp. Oscar says, I watched the Sonic movie because of the way they handled the backlash and listened to the fans. It became an internet phenomenon.
I mean, it was cool to see the shift. I've heard a conspiracy, mind you, I'm not big on conspiracy theories, but I did hear one that talked about how they purposely did the marketing so bad that they knew that they were going to change it, but they wanted such a reaction for the media attention so that when they changed it, it would garner more eyes.
Oh, I mean, it worked.
I don't know if I necessarily believe it, but I'm like, I could see it because that initial Sonic design was hot garbage. The hottest of garbage.
I mean, yeah, it was scary.
It was like Uncanny Valley, but for Sonic. It was really weird.
Oscar also says also Jim Carrey was in the movie and did good with the role. It surpassed my expectation, even though I was in the mid between watching it seriously and ironically. I was a Sonic fan as a kid. I mean, I was never a Sonic fan either growing up, so maybe that's why even more just makes me not really care to see it. Because I'm sure if they made a Mario, because I was a Mario kid. If they made a Mario movie, I might see it.
They did make a Mario movie.
I know which one you're talking about. Those are funny.
No, do you know which one I'm talking about?
No. There's an animated Mario film?
No, there's a live action one.
That's what I'm talking about.
You're not talking about the one that's being made. You're talking about the one that was made.
Yes, the old one. Wasn't that like the 80s?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or 90s? When did Mario come out? The original Super Mario World.
That was
or Mario Brothers.
That'd be the 80s.
Because wasn't that the flagship title for Nintendo, the launch?
Now well, it probably wasn't an arcade game first? 1985.
Oh, then the movie was definitely late 80s, I think.
Yeah.
If I had to take it, or early 90s.
It had to start off as an arcade game, though, I'm guessing. I don't know, though. Because that was kind of what games
I know Donkey Kong did.
As an arcade game?
And that was like the origin of Mario.
Oh, the original. Are you talking about the one where you had a Donkey Kong throwing barrels at you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I actually really liked that game. Jen says, the fact that I have had a first aid course, I do not know how to use an EpiPen. I don't think I would know how to do it either. I know you kind of just stick it in the leg, but...
I would hope at this point in 2022, there would be like instructions on the EpiPen itself in case like the person went into their seizure, whatever it was. And then if someone was like nearby, could just look at it and be like, big red letters, step 1, step 2. You know?
I mean, growing up, one of my nicknames was Safety Kid because I was really obsessed with safety. But one of my friends had bad allergy problems and would get seizures. And I remember like reading the EpiPen. So they do give instructions.
Why does none of that surprise me?
Yeah. But I was very serious about that. I think I remember sitting on the toilet reading it too.
You stole his EpiPen and then read it on a toilet? What if he went into a seizure while you were in the bathroom?
He can't. Well, then he couldn't poke himself, so I'd have to do it anyways.
Yeah, but who knows how long you could have been?
Oh my gosh, Tim. I would be quick.
Mm-hmm.
Felix says, I'm also struggling super hard with painting, drawing since starting work. I mean, I do 3D art at work, but it's not like art.
That can be tough. I know when I got my job at CG Cookie, I felt like I had the honor of doing tutorial stuff, so I felt like I was always just improving. So my day, I just felt like I was using as studies, and then at night, I would apply that to my personal work. Oh gosh, my advice with this though, it really is going to be like dedicate, even if it's just 10-15 minutes every day to drawing for yourself, because it's very easy to get out of a habit of like drawing for yourself, and then getting back into it can be even more difficult because you feel so far removed from it. So I would say try to force yourself to at least 15 minutes every day. And then if you have the time or if you have the energy, just up it. And if you can eventually get to the point where you're at least an hour, I would say that would be like a good point where at least, even if you feel kind of exhausted, if you're still getting an hour every day on your personal work, that's amazing. You know.
Felix says, but I'm going on vacation to Rome next week, which is exciting. First vacation in a long time. That should serve as a little source of inspiration as well.
Oh, and I want to go to Rome so bad.
One day.
We'll
do it. Rune Wonderland says they didn't have an EpiPen because they didn't know they were allergic to something. They told me that it was probably something in the smoothie they just drank. I kept checking on them and asked if they can breathe and if they want me to call for help. But they didn't want to. When they felt better, they just said they'd go to emergency room just in case. Okay, at least they were able to still breathe and everything. So it wasn't like a crazy seizure, but yeah, that's scary. You kind of lose trust in your body after something like that, too, because you don't really...
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what just happened?
Elena says, the only reason I know how to use an EpiPen is that I take medicine in a similar type of pen. Oh gosh, so you have to poke yourself? Oof.
It always helps having at least one person around that just kind of knows those things.
That's what I do for our friend's cat has diabetes.
Oh, that's right.
So I do the insulin shots on the cat. So that's my really only experience actually having to poke something. Antonio says, since we're all such fans of anime, there's this show that came out on Netflix that I watch over and over again whenever I'm drawing called Blue Period. Oh, yes.
Oh, Dee just recommended this.
Yeah, recommends that one too. She said it was good because it's about the artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to draw some dandelions behind her.
Felix says, I have been to Rome already, but like 10 years ago. But this time it's with my boyfriend who has never been on a plane before, so that's exciting.
Oh!
Hey!
Hopefully he's excited about it. You know, sometimes planes freak people out a little bit.
I personally love planes, but I won't even go there.
Josh is obsessed with planes.
Christian says, would love doing drawings like that. Love the Muka style very much.
Well, thank you.
With the macaroni here.
Macaroni here. I mean, I'm going to stick with spaghetti here because that's how I read it.
Felix says, and I can't wait to see the Bernini sculptures in person again.
I'm pretty jealous right now.
I feel like it would be really fun to go to, well, Italy, obviously, France.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone know anything about Nice, France? I'm probably saying it wrong. It's probably like Nice. Nice, France? I really want to go there sometime too. It looks gorgeous. It's like right along the ocean. Jen says, Heartstopper, I remember reading those chapters and they were just a webcomic. Then I saw them in a comic store and I was like, yay.
Mm-hmm.
So is it a comic then, Heartstopper? Do you know about that?
I know nothing about the history of it, but I know it's a Netflix show. Now, I don't know its origins.
Elena says, Twilight was the first book I ever read in English, and now 14 years later I have a degree in English literature, so it always holds a special place in my heart, even with the issues.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't even imagine teaching that at a school. Not that you would, but...
I mean, it's got some good things to talk about. Good discussion in it, though. I don't know. It's, a toxic relationship. It's a character study in a way.
Oh, gosh.
Ejidera says, just a question because I'm curious. Do you know the art of Dutch Frisian artist Sir Lawrence Alma Tadema? If not, then I think you'll love the Roses of Heliogabalus. Alright, I'm pulling this up.
I feel like I'm not familiar, but possibly. The name doesn't strike any bells in my head right away.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, never mind. Yes. Yeah, I have this saved on Pinterest. Oh, it's so good. I love old art so much.
Well, I think it's crazy because they didn't have access to oils and things like we do now. They had just go into a craft store and buy a color they want. It's like, I'm sure even getting the oils was way different back then too.
Yeah.
Paints.
I mean, I personally actually don't know what their process for going to get oils was, but I can only imagine it was interesting.
Yeah, because even color. They didn't have like food coloring or things like that even. So it's like, how were they doing that?
Well, then they would have to mix a lot of their palettes by themselves.
That's crazy.
Right?
But how do you even get the base colors for a lot of them?
So I assume they were base tubes of some kind, because it would be like gosh, I don't even know the hues, their names, but like, titanium blue, I think is one of them. Cadmium, I want to say is another. I think there's like base ones, and then you can mix them together with white, black, or other colors to get any color you want.
Oh, okay.
But it's definitely a process compared to today where you just color pick on a Photoshop color wheel.
Yeah, that's wild. Jen says, at the same time, I could also... Oh, about Heartstopper. At the same time, we can also imagine a bunch of business majors and executives going, we need realistic hedgehog with not a touch of irony or artistic awareness in their body.
Artistic awareness. I like that. Without artistic awareness.
Antonio says, going off on what you said about habits, I've taken your advice on doing my art as soon as I wake up. It's great sitting down with a cup of green tea and pencil in your hand.
That's amazing. How's it working for you then? Do you feel like you're getting more done, or you feel more proactive getting that done and then like moving throughout the day feels better? I'm kind of curious.
Lena says, yeah, but it is much less scary than I thought it was going to be. Used to have a fear of needles. It feels a bit nice though to also know how an EpiPen works.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
just in case, because you never know. Same with CPR. I feel like that's something I want to almost get retrained on too.
You're right. I remember going through the course to get my babysitting license back in the day.
Right. I know I did a course once too, and it was good. It was good. But I kind of forgot. Is it, how many compressions? 30?
I don't know.
I can't remember what the equation was, so it might be good to refresh.
I don't remember. I'm going on 33. I took this class when I was like 15.
I don't know how old I was either.
Yeah, I definitely should get retrained in it.
Tigel says, I'm jumping in and off.
Hey, Tigel.
My parents are visiting.
Oh. Tell them I say hi.
Yeah,
they're lovely people.
Enjoy your visit with your parents.
Yeah, also, go enjoy time with your parents. What are you doing?
Antonio says, I'm also going to Rome and then Greece to visit my family in July. On the bright side, art reference galore. Mm-hmm. On the downside, it'll be so hot, even the devil will need AC. Well, actually, I never thought about that, because I think Greece and Italy would be kind of like the Florida of Europe.
No way. Where is it on the hemisphere? It's got to be above.
They're pretty even, I would think.
Is it really?
World map.
Those were my lack of hemisphere knowledge and like geography.
So I guess Italy would be more like our Virginia. So it's getting warmer, like Virginia and Georgia is when you think about it.
You totally went like down.
All right, so Tim.
Maybe I don't know. It seems like more Midwest.
But it's got the Mediterranean. Like, it gets warmer there.
Oh, wait. The Greece is definitely lower.
Yeah, well, yeah. Greece would be, like, our southern states.
Kinda, but still above it. I mean, they say you can't fully trust a map, too, because it's a sphere. So having a flat map doesn't really make sense to...
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, as you would say, the world's actually flat, so...
I mean, one nice part about Europe, too, is that you can just go visit Italy or Rome and stuff like that. For us, it's like
a destination.
8 hour, yeah, it's definitely a little bit more of a hassle.
Not as easy, we'll say.
Felix says, Heartstopper started as a webcomic, then it got published as books, 4 so far, and they're pretty widely available in bookstores. Then they got adapted to a Netflix series. Thank you, Felix. The origin of Heartstopper. So it did start as a webcomic.
That is the normal path now for a lot of shows that start as books. Because I know even with Witch Hat, they just got accepted and are moving forward with the show as well.
Well, I think it's because then you kind of already have a plot ready to go to. So it makes it easier in the writers. I don't know.
No, I would say it's because they saw the marketing success of the book, so there's already a target audience that they're going for. So they like wait and see because everything's, money based on some level.
Oh, I get you. So they kind of know it's something that will take.
Yeah, because how could it not? It's almost like a safety net, I feel like a lot of executives do nowadays.
Rueden says, I used to like flying too, but then our plane got in a turbulence while I was in the toilet. The seatbelt light was on, but I wasn't allowed to go back to my seat, so I just tried to hold myself on top of the toilet and hope that it stops soon.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, happens. It happens. I mean, I'm actually going to work on getting a pilot license. I won't talk about it too much, but this summer I'm going to go fly a little plane with Tim's brother, so it'll be fun to try it out.
We'll see.
Will she? Tim will not be flying with me, probably ever.
I think it's because I've been on so many planes at this point. I'm not the biggest fan of planes. I actually dread going to airports now. But I've literally been on over 100 flights at this point.
Imagine if I could fly one day though, and we could just ride our bikes up the street, and I could fly us somewhere.
Yeah, but I also hate planes.
Why? You just don't like sitting there, is all?
No. I don't like travel. I'm not a big. I can't wait to go on this road trip person.
Okay, I love travel.
I'm not a fan.
I think even any kind of transportation I kind of like trains I think are so cool. I think how we develop ways to transport people is amazing.
It's amazing, and I can definitely at least acknowledge the technology is awesome.
Well, I think about planes, how they connected the world. I mean, they made a huge change to the way we're connected.
I mean, yes.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Oscar says, sorry for the art questions. On an art stream, Oscar, are you serious?
How could you?
Yeah, how could you?
The gumption you have.
But could you draw some quick examples of different types of hair and explain the difference in how you draw them and why? Just use post-it notes.
I almost would want to make a whole stream on, maybe next week. I could do a whole stream on the different types of hair.
Oh, actually, Oscar, you gave a good stream idea.
Because even, I have this drawing nearby. The way that I did his hair, it's a mix of spaghetti and stylized. And I like doing this with a more semi-realistic looking face. It's a style that I really have come to kind of do in most of my work now. But the hair that I'm doing today is strictly spaghetti. Everything's a string. And there are times that I will do this as well. It just kind of depends on the piece I'm working on. I wish I had more examples readily available. Oh wait, I have my art book right here. Alright, so this is my art book. This is the 4th one, so my newest one currently. So the cover, this angel has spaghetti hair, and as you see, the whole entirety of the hair is spaghetti. This took me forever. But let me find another. So this is spaghetti, I would say, but spaghetti that turns into the design element.
Love that one.
Blank. I think doing hair as a negative space can be really interesting in a piece. Let me see. I feel oh yeah, so this kind of is the floral drawing I just showed, where it's stylized. It's not quite spaghetti, but it has kind of that undertone where it feels stringy in areas. And then if I'm doing usually people of color, it has more of a textural element to it that I like to include. So this, I might do a lot of quick circle gesture, mini circles, and same with beards and stuff. Let me see. Yeah, I like doing this a lot too, where the hair will fade into negative space. I feel that's a staple of mine. Yeah, see, I do it a lot. Here it is again. And then sometimes I'll make the hair more matte, so it creates its own shape almost by itself. And then sometimes I like it very outline heavy, so there's very minimal interior work done on the hair, but the hair itself becomes more of a shape. And here's another example of my kind of, I don't even know I'll call it in between spaghetti design. And this is probably the one I do the most. I really like this look visually. Let's see if there's any last ones I can point out here. Oh yeah, here's a good example of crazy spaghetti when I'm just messing around. I think when I mess around, I like doing spaghetti because it's so freeform. It doesn't really matter if it looks realistic or not. If I'm doing a realism study, I'll definitely do more matte and try to keep it consistent with how it really looks. Once again, the spaghetti hair. I want to find one more of. Oh, I guess this one's kind of different. So when I do wavy or curly or scrunchy hair, I'll definitely do a lot of textural work. Kind of what I was saying with when I do a person of color. If I do a really big wavy, especially for her, it was just a lot of repetition and then finding spots of little negative space to make it read well. Because you don't want it just to look like a big gray mess. You still have to have somewhat of the form within it. So I think that would be the... Oh, actually my favorites. This is one of my favorite drawings I've ever done, just because I love the elements of the hair and how it kind of like fades into the face. I need to get better with accepting... What's that called? Oh, it's not faded line, not faded edge. There's a name for it where like the edge on his forehead like fades into the hair, and I love that. I can't believe I can't remember what it's called. Undefined edge? It's something, and I love the look of that. I love the play of values working in the spaghetti hair and then merging into the shapes. So that one's really fun. And then I saw the Lunar Mermaid. This is definitely more shapular. So like I'm just drawing kind of the outline of the hair and then like doing little touches in the middle. So yeah, I think next week we'll do a hair stream. And I'll kind of show my different ways of how I approach hair and the different ways I think hair can be done. I'm sure there will be ones that I don't even know that I kind of miss, but it'll be a fun stream nonetheless. Oh, and here we go. So this would be more of like a very heavy focus on hair. It has the spaghetti design in between things that I was talking about, but also a very big play on value and light versus dark. So this hair is really fun for me to do as well, but this is definitely more time taxing. So yeah. Yeah, so going back to this, see how much simpler this looks versus the last one where it was like had some of the value touches to it. And you know what? Maybe I'll add some of the value at the end of this one just to give it a little bit more pop.
Everyone's definitely feeling the hair stream, though.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do a hair stream next week then. I mean, this one kind of unintentionally is becoming a hair stream.
All right, so Elena says, also for anyone wondering, EpiPen is pretty easy to use even if you're unfamiliar with it. Take off the cap on the needle and press it onto the skin on the upper thigh or stomach. Press button on the other end, wait for all the liquid to go through, and then you can take the pen off. Also, this is not meant as an actual attempt at educating how to use it, but even knowing that might save a life.
I mean, true.
I mean, as I thought, so just right on the thigh, press it, and you're good. I mean, good to know, Tim, just in case. You never know.
You never know.
Ella says, Tim, Josh, hi you two. Hope you're doing well. Ella, good to see you.
Is this our mod?
Yes, mod Ella.
Hello, Ella.
Good to see you, Ella. Hope you've been doing well as well. Lena says, oof, yeah, I had food poisoning the last time I was on a plane a few weeks ago. Did not have a fun time. Oh god, being on a plane with having food poisoning, that'd be a nightmare. I feel like you can't get to the facility as quickly if you need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that actually sounds awful.
Antonio says, it's a whole lot easier getting it done in the morning. Oh, the new art schedule. It's a whole lot easier getting it done in the morning because if I do it later, I'm always like, oh, I'm so tired. I just want to lay down and rewatch The Witcher.
It's funny. I feel like different people have different times of day that they work best. I'm definitely a night owl person. That's why I force myself to do my daily, so my tarot deck and my mermaid deck during the day, because then at night I just really want to do my personal work. But after I do my dailies, as I call them, I really like to either do things around the house. I feel like I like doing things that aren't art for just a little bit, and then I'll get back to it once the sun starts going down.
Yeah, I'm more of like, if I don't have things done by 7, I probably won't do it. Because even dishes are one of those things too. Like, if I try to do the dishes before 8 at least, because after that I won't do them.
Yeah, you are not a night person.
Yeah, I just want to chill out. Elena says, I used to love flying, but once I moved abroad, it just became a normality, and I lost the enjoyment of it. And then flying during COVID-19 made me hate flying. Yeah. Wearing the mask for 2 to 3 hours straight, if not longer.
Well, for me with California, it was like 4 or 5.
Oh, it's like a 5 hour, yeah. It's not fun because you're just stuck in a spot too, so you're kind of feeling claustrophobic a little bit. Also, Elena says yes to hair stream. So there's one. Ellis says I had to fly a lot because long distance relationship. But yeah, I really also dislike flying. It's bad for the environment. It's stressful and uncomfortable. But right now, train tickets cost like double the amount, and I have to travel for 24 hours while it's 2 hours with the plane.
Oof.
Yeah, probably plane is quicker. I mean, probably, in the aviation area, they are working on making electric engines for planes, so it is something.
It is something.
Yeah. Elena says, "Oh, planes do have benefits for sure, and I love traveling, but just don't really enjoy the whole flying debacle." Yeah, I think the airport and all that part of it makes it a little stressful too. Oscar says, I'd love a full stream devoted to hair. The reason is because I love the style you draw hair. I'm leaning towards wanting a similar style. Bit less fantastical maybe, but hair is such an expressive feature.
It really is.
Ella says Lost Edges.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Lost Edges.
Thank you, Ella. Coming
Ella,
through.
always there. Jen says also probably not accidentally stick yourself with the EpiPen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do not do that.
So, really quick, I think let's just, because I didn't realize we're already past the hour mark. I want to for sure at least talk about AI-generated art one more time, just because it was like a big thing on my last stream, and I really, really contemplated about it afterwards. And I had a big art debate with a lot of my art friends. We usually get together every Thursday, and there were like 8 of us in this call, and it became like a full-out debate, not only of what is the effects of AI-generated art, but then it was also a little bit about digital versus traditional. Then it became like, what is art? And then it became, does the process really matter or determine the outcome for you? If anything, this whole past week of this AI art kind of taking over a lot of the Twitter and Instagram feeds of people, it really solidified my own opinion about art, and I needed that in this time period. So I'm actually very thankful in a very, very strange way about this whole AI stuff. So here are my final thoughts about AI-generated art right now. It could change in the future, I'm not sure, but as of right now, to me, it helped me define art as 2 things. One, the finished result, and the process. Both are very important to me. When it comes to the finished result, I was actually going to make a separate YouTube video just for this, but essentially, I look at, I know red's kind of hard to see on the stream, but bear with me for a second. So, how do I define great art? So, if this line is your technicality, and that, oh, hi Casper. And that kind of is defined by, oh, you definitely cannot see that red on the screen. That looks horrible, but you get the point. Technicality, which is your technical skill. So how well you do anatomy, your value control, your understanding of light, how you do your edges, how you play with values that is compositionally well done. So you're very technical. So this is nothing creative, very much your skill, if you want to call it that. So you take your technicality, then on the other side, and it's going up because I'm thinking of it like how good can it possibly get. So if this is like the wall, the chart of like this being your peak, technicality, so you'll somewhere beyond that line. On the other side is the total opposite, which is your creativity. We got into a big debate of, is originality dead? I personally am on the side of no. I actually still believe in uniqueness and originality. And I totally used to be on the bandwagon of nothing's original, everything's been done before. But every year I keep seeing things that are new and original, and I'm like, well, this hasn't been done, ever recorded in our history. So there it still is. And me and my friend Babs Webb on Instagram, love her, but we got into a really big debate about this, where she doesn't think anyone's art is original anymore. And I challenged that. I was like, okay, think about you as an artist right now. So for me specifically, I grew up, born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, and I grew up with Final Fantasy X, Kingdom Hearts, and Twist Metal Black, and Spirited Away during my pivotal years. But I also didn't grow up with the internet. I didn't grow up with a lot of the technology that we have today. And my childhood experience was very unique to that time of like the internet being born, kind of like with video games. And I got to grow up through that. So when I create art, I'm creating and pulling from those instances that happened in my life that someone that is 10, 20 years old now, they will not have those same experiences. So what I'm pulling from, that personal bank that is in your head, that is unique and that's original to who you are. And the way that you pull from it and the way that you create it on the page is unique. So like, even though this may still read to a lot of you as just like a Muka drawing, if I kept going with it and if I played with it long enough, it would start looking like something that I personally did. And I do think you can be original today in this world. So that was a big debate. I would love to bring on some of my art friends. Like I said, I'm going to bring these debates probably in the summer to these live streams at some point because I love good debates. And I think it's good hearing different sides of different opinions. So anyways, I still think creativity and originality is alive and well. You just got to like really hone in on it. And if this middle line represents like how good it gets, to me, this is your input. So your personal perspective of the world and what you create is unique to you. And if it meets right here, that to me is great art. When it is technically amazing, creatively cool, interesting, unique, and then it has that personal touch right into it as well, that is great art. But what this AI thing has really defined for me is the process I also find very important. So if this is the execution, the other one, and I promise this is the last sticky note lecture I have for today, the other one would be process. I don't really know if I have a graph in my mind set for this yet, but the things that I find important with the process are intention. I think with AI art, there isn't really a lot of intention behind it, besides I want to make something visually pretty. And yeah, compositionally, there have been arguments with a lot of my friend groups that, you can create compositions that are inspiring or color palettes, but a lot of that is just going to be painted over in future years where a lot of it wasn't really your input. It was this algorithm in the software, not algorithm, it was the software that output something based on their Google mashup of different images around the internet. So for me, the intention and process, I know I'm using the word process twice, but to me, those two really do matter in the actual making of the work, because kind of like if we're talking about like destination versus journey, way too many people are focused on the destination right now, which yes, the destination is important and you really want a good final result. But for me, if you take out the journey, you kill a lot of what made that art piece great. Think of like The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings or literally any fantastical movie or book where it's this fun journey along the way. Imagine if you just took that out and The Lord of the Rings started with Bilbo Frodo getting the ring, and then the next chapter he's throwing it in the volcano. That is not a good story. And for me, when I'm making art, things grow organically. I make choices and the piece changes as I continue growing it. And a lot of the times the piece itself will mature into something that I wasn't aware of the intention when I began it. So,
I mean, when you're drawing a character too, you're trying to make this entire character's life show in a drawing. So there's little details that you're adding because you're adding to that character.
Oh, well, thank you, Luna Drawings, for subscribing. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, actually, good point. Like, this character, this is originally going to be such a graphic design heavy piece in my mind, and like just like a fun background stream for a warm-up, essentially. But as I'm working on it, it's almost impossible for me not to develop some kind of a backstory for the character, like visually see them in a different light. So now I'm thinking like this is like a dandelion, either fairy or princess or something, and as we're weaving together the visual of her, I feel like the story in my head is being narrated as well, where a lot of these AI generated art pieces now, the story wasn't made by you, it was made by a software. And some people will say, well, that still counts, and that's great. If that to you is art, then obviously art is subjective. Everyone can have a different opinion. But what AI in this whole past week and a half, 2 weeks really gave me is my sense of what I stand for. And that is what I stand for in the art world. And I think I will make a separate video for this once I figure out a better graph for this one. Because I know there's a third thing I'm forgetting that I wrote down when I was arguing with my friends that was important. But I do think art in the direction it's going in is a little worrisome. But the thing that was comforting is there will always be people that will connect to art that feels authentic. Oh, I think that was the third word, authenticity. And it's funny, it's such a marketable word nowadays. You see it thrown around on like social media so much. But like almost nothing's authentic on social media right now. And it's scary. But I think when it comes to the art world, when you're creating, you know if you're creating for a monetary undertone purpose or a social gain purpose, or if it literally is art that is for you, that has like a good intention in your heart. Obviously, I sound really cheesy when I talk about it, but you know what? I've learned I don't care anymore. I'm passionate about art. I'm going to be that person that will stand up for it. There was this big thing about living in the gray, as we call it, where Babs was talking about how only Siths think in absolutes, but I love villains, so I will take that on proudly. Where for me, yeah, I don't want to live in the gray of like, oh, everything's acceptable, everything is art, everything is fine. I don't want to be that anymore. I want to be like, you know what? No, I think it's okay to have standards and like some level of taste that you can express why you don't like something or why you do like something. I don't know why everything has muted into such a middle ground now where like no one wants to stand up for what they feel or what they like or dislike because they're like scared of backlash. But I'm not scared anymore. I'm here. I don't really like AI art. I hate NFTs. So that's where I kind of stand right now. I'm not opposed, though, to talking to someone that loves AI art or loves NFTs, and we'll have a discourse about it. I love that. I'm definitely not into like the cancel culture stuff at all. So I would love to have a conversation with someone that is really passionate about the things that are opposite of what I believe in, because I think in a lot of ways that strengthens what you believe in, or on a blue moon, it actually makes you change your opinion on what maybe you thought was important before, and now you're seeing of, yeah, maybe there wasn't a lot of foundation to what you believed in. So I'm very thankful in a very strange way for it. And obviously you can't stop advancing and progress and change, so it's going to happen. It's how you react to it. I reacted very down the last 2 weeks, but now I'm kind of back on that horse and I'm riding. So here we are. Anyways, rant over. Thank you guys for listening. That was my TED Talk on art.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah, you definitely are in a way better place now about it though than you were, and I'm happy to hear that you've been finding your opinion on it and sticking to it.
Yeah. Well, and I know like when it kind of like, God, there's so much I could talk about on just. I feel like I could just not draw and just rant, but I won't do that. But I feel like if something's important for you, even if it's not the popular opinion, as long as you don't have malicious intention behind what your thoughts are or what your actions will be, I feel like a lot of us are afraid to share that. Where I'm just not afraid anymore, or at least right now. Right now, I feel like my mid 20-year-old self, who was like very much stand up for what I believe was good art, what was bad art. I'm not going to call out names, but a lot of popular artists right now, I wouldn't even consider their art very good. I would say it's very much produced for the end result of gaining likes, gaining substantial, kind of over-glorified praise for drawings that are so simple and inhuman. I don't know how many more like basic spit paint pretty girl profiles that I can tolerate before it's like, no, I think this just feels generated art. This feels produced. It kind of feels like hollow. There's no personality behind it anymore, and a lot of the most popular artists have this kind of art style that just breathes inauthenticity, where it just is like, I want your likes and I want status in the art community. But I don't think most of them, in my opinion, I don't think I actually know who that artist is from their work. And there's an argument for that. Like, do you have to inject yourself into your art to be considered an artist or to have your works be considered on a higher level. That's debatable. I think for me, I would say obviously yes, but
I think there's a level of fame though too that can get overwhelming because you obviously need to maintain it, especially social media. So I'm sure there's a lot of that involved too. Because I mean, you've experienced that too, where it's like you're trying to keep this following you're building going. So there's this panic of like, I have to be producing, and it doesn't. I feel like then you're just stuck in this mental loop of knowing you want to make it feel as good as it used to be for you, but now you're stuck in this new world of like, I have to keep this following, I have to do this, I have to do that. And I kind of feel bad for them in a way.
Actually, and even what you're saying, to me the difference in like making art is feeling like you have to do it versus feeling like you want to do it.
Yeah.
Me and my friends got into a big debate about this of if you are making art solely for the intention of selling it, is it art anymore? That was definitely a hot take from a lot of my friends. Like I said, I think I'll bring a lot of them on for like one of these like hot issue take.
Yeah, I don't want to be on for a hot topic issue one.
No, I feel like you would want to hide.
I want to be
just pure, just bullets flying back and forth.
Yeah, I don't really have opinions on these, but if anything, I think I understand your opinion just because I'm with you, and I hear you talk about it. So in a way, I think I agree. I actually do agree with your opinion on it. I think from someone that observes art, I would appreciate something that was completely hand done and like start to finish over something that was AI generated. Obviously, I would generally appreciate it more.
Actually, I'm curious if there's anyone watching right now that doesn't do art. How do you feel about AI generated art? So that was one of the definitely hot takes I wanted to talk about on the stream. The other take that isn't really that hot, but I officially finished Elden Ring. Yay! And I have thoughts about pros and cons. So I guess I'll let you share your pros and cons with Elden Ring first.
Can we do some comment catch-ups really quick?
Actually, yeah, we'll do it in between first.
You've been talking for a little bit of time, so you know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Very passionate here.
Just passionate boy.
I love art. I love art.
All right. I might have missed a couple, so I'm sorry, but let's see. Antonio says, are you guys planning on attending the Boston Comic-Con this year? I really enjoy meeting you guys face to face.
Not this year, but I think a lot of my friends are going to that one.
To Boston, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We may, it's not confirmed yet, but we might be at New York Comic-Con, so kind of close.
We'll be at a LuxCon in Pennsylvania. I don't know how close that is.
New York would be closer.
Hi, Casper.
To Boston.
You want to say hi to the streamers? Everyone, this is Casper the cat.
Casper, good to see you, sweetie. Oh my goodness.
Hi. I know, you want to go outside too.
I know, you and Astrid both are. Is Astrid in the bed store or did she move?
Oh, she moved.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh.
Buddy, can you wait like one more hour? Yeah?
We'll go outside in a little bit, Casper.
He likes to be held like a baby.
It's 90 degrees out, Casper. It's going to be really hot, especially for your
black coat.
Fur that's just going to suck that heat in. He gets really hot in the sun. Like, thank God cats aren't flammable because he gets so hot. I mean, I guess they are flammable, but like, he can't just spontaneously. Never mind. EJ Dara says, I want it long, straight, curly, fuzzy, snaggy, shaggy, ratsy, matsy, oily, greasy, fleecy, shining, gleaming, streaming, flaxen, waxen, knotted, polka dotted, twisted, beat it, braided, powdered, flowered, and confetti bangled, tangled, spangled, and spaghettied. Yes, hair stream, please. that was beautiful.
Oh no. Are we becoming the same person?
You picked up my line.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what you're known for?
Yeah. When I die, that's going to be on my gravestone.
That was beautiful. Oh, yikes.
Ijadera, thank you. I want to say that really, really fast, but I'll do it off stream. Emily Anchia says, AI art is missing a huge element of choice. You can't ask yourself any questions about the choices the artist made, technique they use, meaning, composition. The answer is just computer generated. I think that's actually, you're kind of putting what my thought is on it too in a way in words. It's like, just as an observer of art, that's how I feel, where I'm like, I can't really even sit there and question what they were feeling with this or where this came from or where they were at in life. You can't even ask that because immediately it's naturally going to be the fact that it's AI art. I don't know.
Well, and here's the weirdest part. I guess I should have mentioned this earlier. I think visually, AI art is gorgeous. Like the one artist, Sergey or Andre, I forgot what his name is already, but it's gorgeous. And I can't deny compositionally and color-wise, yeah, they're inspiring on some level for sure. But once I found out, it was the whole Josevino, who was here last week, talked about, well, do you consider it art if you don't know the process? But when you find out the process, will that change your opinion? In my opinion, yes.
100%, yes.
If you're kind of like a crime scene, you might have an idea of who you think did it, but when you're given new information, that totally changes your opinion on it.
Yeah.
I think being given new information about something could totally affect your opinion of it.
Actually, Gone Girl in a way is a good way of that too, where
you think he did it?
Perspective of characters,
and maybe he did.
It's been out for like 10 years now.
I'm sorry about that, guys. I mean, it's not that much of a spoiler because halfway through the movie shifts anyways.
We need like a quick way to cut the stream off if we do, because there's the delay. There's gotta be a way you can like do a cutout quickly.
I feel like I've never done that before. I'm usually really good at spoiler
I did
stuff.
I did it a couple weeks ago with Elden Ring.
Did you?
Something. Yeah, I said something about Elden Ring and all of a sudden everyone's coming after me. You know, I'm getting death threats now. It's just crazy. Like, I'm sorry.
Getting death threats.
I lose track of comments a lot because it auto scrolls, and it's my one thing with YouTube I don't like.
Yeah, I do notice that too.
Antonio says, what you're saying about technicality versus creativity is why I'm practicing life drawing so much. I've got creativity flowing out of me, but I still need technical skills to actualize it.
Yep, that's how I felt when I was in high school too.
Actually, life drawing, you always say, though, was like a really good 100%. Way to learn a lot of the technicality. Ella says, it makes me so happy to hear that this is, that this was the opinion you landed on, Tim. It's exactly how I feel about it.
Well, and don't get me wrong, there's artists here, even like Oscar, who last week had, a very adamant opinion about AI art too, where I think it's valid as well. So I want us to still have differing opinions on these streams, but it is nice to know like there's someone out there. So maybe I can be that for some of you who have been feeling like, I don't know the direction that art is going in right now, and it's kind of scary, but I'm going to be one of those artists who will stand up for it. And I think like using the platform that I do have, that I've established over like years of being in this industry, and hopefully years to come, like I want to use it and not just be like gray of just like, oh, everything's, we're just moving along. It's like, no, let's stand up for what we believe in. If you want better movies and stories to be told, then say something, speak up for it. Or if you're really going the extra mile, make it yourself, which I feel like is my ultimate dream of like really standing up for what I believe in my medium. So I'm excited to do that in the future.
Antonios says, I connect with what you said about the destination for a person's art. My goal is to make gala pieces that reintroduce people from all over the world to their ancestral religions and cultures.
Ooh.
Oh, that would actually be really cool.
Yeah. And stick on that path. Try not to be persuaded otherwise, even if it seems tough to like hold on to that.
I think too, we get so focused on how popular something becomes, like that means we did good at it. But I think at the end of the day too is if you're making something that even 3 or 5 or 10 or 500 or 10,000 people connect with, the fact that you're able to connect with someone with something you're creating is really cool. So appreciate that for sure too.
It's really easy to get sucked into the social media machine. I've been sucked in it before in my life, and it is bad. It's not a great feeling.
Those are sad days for Tim.
Sad days.
Those are when Tim's not in the best mood.
Well, I think because I get so wrapped up into it, and I think a lot of you, if you are going to, or if you're not already this, I think a lot of us aspire to be independent artists where we can make financial stability creating what we want to. And unfortunately, a lot of that stability is tied to social media nowadays. So if you're not doing well on social media, it does kind of directly affect not only your income potentially, but how you see your worth as an artist, which is like the worst attachment you can have to it. And admittedly, I have had that, and it's not great. It's really bad, actually.
Yeah, you get in your head about it when that happens.
Yeah. Thankfully, I feel like I'm coming out of it finally, but
you're getting a new perspective, I think, too, which is good. You've given yourself time to really process it, how you feel about it, and then where you go from there.
Also true.
Ella says, I think a lot of times you can also tell if the artist was passionate about their project or not. Like, you can see a difference between their personal art versus commission work.
Oh, 1,000%. One of my good friends, Alex, I talk to him every week. He's becoming actually one of my best friends, and you can see the difference between his freelance and his personal work, in my opinion. I know he'd probably hate if he's secretly watching this right now, me saying that, but his personal work, I think, has such a story and such like a strength behind it that his commission work, it has the same aesthetic, kind of, but it's missing the soul.
Well, it's your graph. Maybe it has the technicality, but then the creativity
actually,
and yeah.
Yes, it has technicality, but it's missing his input, his own personal input. And I mean, there's some creativity, so it's not super far down, but like it'd probably be here where a lot of his works, I would say, are higher up for sure.
Felix says, also effort matters in art, just like a 5-minute random modern art piece says very little about what the artist wants to express. So does the minimal effort necessary to input a small text for AI art.
That's another way to look at it, yeah.
Oh yeah, Dragoon. Tim did talk about the hairstyle earlier, and then next week we're going to be doing a whole hair stream.
Yeah, so I like to joke, call this spaghetti hair, but I'll be doing a whole stream next week about the different types of hair and how to create them.
So definitely next week we'll have the replay on YouTube too, so if you can't hear live, but Tim's going to go all into hair.
We're going to go all in. Here we go, hair.
Oscar says, great TED Talk. I think we don't have to worry about AI in this way. It's a tool. And when the day comes when we recognize AI as sentient individuals, it's going to be the same as another living being or soul.
Wait, what?
Well, I'll probably read it and you're like, wait, what? And
wait, just the end part.
Oh, yeah. And when the day comes when we recognize AI as sentient individuals, it's going to be the same as another living being or soul.
Ooh, I feel like that's like sci-fi.
That's like Black Mirror. Yeah.
I mean, weirdly, I actually love Black Mirror, though.
I think I mean, I love the whole sci-fi trope of like robots are people too, but we have to process the fact that it is like computer-created emotions that they are showing. Like, do you remember the Will Smith I, Robot movie?
Kind of.
Yeah. But it's like, at the end of the day, though, it's still like a computer-generated emotion. It can feel real because humans, we have empathy. So, like, if there's emotion around us, we tend to understand or, like, attempt to understand it. But it's still a code that's giving it those feelings and thoughts. So even the art side of it, it's like it's always going to feel in some way hollow because you know it's just a processor. I don't know.
Well, you know what movie I think got pretty close to how I feel about AI becoming advanced is Her. If any of you saw the Spike Jonze film, it has Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Jo as the main two. It's where you basically can fall in love with an AI software. And I don't want to spoil anything, but the way that it ends, and I think the lesson you learn from it, I actually think is very poignant, and I think will potentially be the direction of AI in the future. We'll see. Like I said, I already spoiled one thing.
So I have no idea.
I need to show you that one. I think Her's great.
Elena says, I love debates and these kind of discussions, which is one of the many reasons I love these streams. Having studied literature, different views is where I thrive. But I also have topics that I just absolutely refuse to have a debate or discussion about, what I consider basic human rights. Oh yeah, there's things I feel like that are off the table, but I think when it comes to stuff like this especially too, it's good to have discussion about.
I feel like, for me personally, I respect that a lot in what you just said. For me personally, I actually feel like nothing's off the table. So if someone wants to debate me on calling like a gay person the F word, I would love to have a debate about that and like put my own injection. But I also want to hear why someone would essentially argue the opposite.
Oh yeah. Well, I think not. I always hate bringing, because when we do this, it like turns into a thing. But the psychedelic side of things, I think one thing acid gave me though was this like ability just to, I want to understand everyone's perspective. So someone that even like hates me and would call me the F word and be like,
I mean, kind of
all these things about me, instead of me being angry at them, instead I want to be like, where are you coming from? What's going on? I want to understand their story and their journey that got them to this point that they are that hateful. I don't know. To me, it's like I don't really think. Yeah, I guess in that way, that would be on the table for me at least.
I think a lot of the times when you're arguing something you're passionate about, and if someone's on the opposite side, if you come at it with not a very like aggressive "you're wrong, I'm right" attitude, and you just ask them questions about why they believe it. I've been in a situation where, I'm not going to say what situation, but someone wasn't able to define what they believed after I was like, oh, why do you think that? And then I just kept asking them questions enough to the point where they didn't really have a foundation for their argument to stand on. And if you make someone feel like they're not even sure of why they believe in something, that's where I think you need to get people, even on the opposite side of thinking. I mean, who knows? Maybe you're on that side too. Like, you're not immune to it. Like, we all can learn something new too. But I've definitely been in arguments before. I think I'm pretty good at debate, where if you just ask them about what they believe long enough, sometimes they'll just talk themselves into a stupor, and then they're like stuck in that position. You're like, okay, well, if that's how you feel and believe, this is why I believe in this, and if that's how you feel, that's where you feel. And then they have to like sit with a lot of the times this really uncomfortable. I think they just said it just to say it in a debate, but that's a whole nother topic. I will definitely bring my art friends in on some of these if you guys want to see real debate, because technically I'm just saying my opinion for the most part. If you want someone live giving me opposition, I will definitely bring in like Alex and Babs and a lot of them.
Well, because I don't think we ever want to create an echo chamber, so it's like we want to make it,
especially seeing the way that like modern politics has been going. I try to avoid politics like crazy, but in my mind, I want to be around people that aren't yes men, because like you said, echo chambers I think can be damaging. I think we need different perspectives and different opinions, and then sharing them with people that are close enough with you where it won't get personal and it won't get to the point where like you won't talk to each other anymore.
Well, that was like, people always say that was what the world was in 2019, and then COVID, I think, secluded everyone in the world so much that we did echo chamber then. Because then we sit online, we find things that we like, and then we don't get that perspective anymore of like openness, I guess.
I mean, I think that's why especially where we're at in 2022 and things like AI art, I think we're seeing more of a debate again. Obviously, I would avoid some forums or some areas of Twitter because it'll just be hostile no matter what. But I think at least with my art friends, I feel like we've been way more open with hot take topics, specifically like art. Does any of this matter? It's been great. And I really like having that again. I feel like it was one of those lost things that I had all my life, and then the past 5-ish years have just felt like very gray. Everything's just kind of in the gray. No one can have a set opinion on anything anymore. So it is nice having the opposite now.
Ella says, I do wonder if my art doesn't fall into the generic art category. I hope my passion in storytelling shines through, but it very much is pretty girls and mini portraits. I think your stuff is so good.
Well, in a way, though, if that's how you're feeling, I think this is a good time to like analyze your work, because I've definitely had this feeling before. And I mean, who am I? Like right now, I'm drawing a pretty girl with flowers. So I mean, this is more of like a fun, nonsensical thing. I don't feel like I'm injecting my personal story with like I am some of my other pieces. I don't even think I'll post this. But I have been in a position where I drew something maybe similar subject matter, same feeling. And it was like, am I just selling out? Like I've had that thought, or maybe not selling out, that's a little harsh. Maybe like what you were saying, am I not injecting enough of who I am into my work? And whenever I felt that, I feel like I would go into kind of this sad, melancholic state. But then I would always like challenge it and be like, where do I want to stay with my art? I always came out of it better. Um, so maybe this is a good chance for you to even look at your work and be like, can I inject more of who I am and what I want to say and what I want to tell through the medium of art? And if you don't feel like you are enough, change it, add more. And I know easier said than done, but if it makes you feel better, I've been there many times, and I always come out of it better, in my opinion.
You know what just hit me though? I was about music artists that like have a record label under them or over them.
Yeah.
That's gotta be so stressful because you're marketed as an individual, and that people are led to believe that this music you're creating is purely from your heart and soul. But then there's this record label that still kind of controls what the content is in it, in a way.
Well, look at how many. I mean, this goes back to late 90s. Do you remember NSYNC's big battle with their producers?
Yeah.
And then that whole song, the bye, 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 with them cutting the strings off of them as puppets, that was a lot of it meant to represent the company that they were under and like breaking free from it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of creative control that was stifled for artists back in the day. And now you see this weird opposite thing where they're called plants, industry plants, where a lot of people were calling Billie Eilish this for a little bit. So essentially what an industry plant is, God, I'm going on a tangent, but I'll keep it short. They see what's popular in culture right now or social media or whatever it is, and then they find a youngster that kind of fits the look and kind of fits the like edge that they're looking for, and then they'll write the songs essentially for them, have that kid sing it, and then push them out with like an expensive music video. And if it does well, it's a good, kind of like what we're talking about with art. Is that genuine? To me, obviously, there's a lot wrong with that, in my opinion. But yeah, that takes a lot of the authentic, a lot of the intention is wrong. It's just not great. And that could be for any industry, movies, films, or same thing, films, video games, music, art.
I mean, yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah. Nino says, okay, about AI art, I always believe if it was easy, everyone would do it. Even though I get your point, the fact that only a few artists are doing it beautifully makes it unique. I'm not sure if it's as soulless as you say, and they don't necessarily look cheap and hollow. I'm not talking about all of them, though. I'm talking about those very high-level ones.
Well, so part of why you don't see it a lot yet is because it's a closed beta software. So like we can't get our hands a hold of it right now. We will in the future, and that's where I think we'll see way more of it. The only free one right now that I know of is Wumbo, but the one everyone's using for like the better rendered ones is called Midjourney. And the reason why I consider it hollow, not for the execution. You got to remember, in my mind, I'm separating execution from the process. The process is hollow for me. Yeah, the execution, I have to admit, it's stunning. Some of the ones that one artist has been posting, yeah, they're great. I love them. I love the texture of it. I love the color balancing of it. But after, I mean, he posts literally one every single day, and sometimes that one post can contain like 4 to 7 different variations of that same prompt, essentially. It loses, for me, I don't know, you might feel different about this, but for me personally, I feel like it's creating art that doesn't have a soul anymore. It's just visually pleasing, which I think some people would argue that for movies right now. A lot of movies are visually pleasing, but are just hollow. Like look at a lot of the animated movies that come out in like the past 5-10 years even. Yeah, they're pretty, and yeah, they are rendered well, but that doesn't mean they're good. Mm. That's my opinion.
I feel like storytelling really has been a little lackluster.
Well, I know the big argument for that is, well, that just means you have to search for it on your own, which Yes, I agree with. But also, there was a time where I feel like mainstream still had good storytelling. And I've been watching this YouTube user talk about specifically video games. Look at the era of like the early 2000s, the GameCube PS2 era. There were so many good games being produced constantly, and they weren't hyped like games are right now. Every game needs like a 3-year hype wagon behind it. And then when you play it, eventually it's like it will never hit the expectation that the hype gave it. Look at Final Fantasy 15. That had so much hype, it was destined to fail.
Well, I think games weren't making the billions they were then either. So money wasn't really the thing at that time. It was more like the passion of what they're making. They cared about the project they're making. I mean, there are things like that still. I think Elden Ring was an example of... We'll talk about that too, because I know you wanted to get that in.
Yes, because we have 15 minutes.
Okay, let me just like... Can I go through messages quickly?
Go as far as you can.
Okay.
We'll probably spill a little over today.
Let's see. Oscar says, I think Bloodborne is the next From Software game you should try. Trust me, Tim, it's gonna at least affect you and be a huge inspiration for the horror aspects of the art. I'll probably have to... I'll probably play that one and Tim will just watch sometime.
Yes, I would love to watch Josh play.
Watching Tim play
the aesthetic of it.
I know Tim would get very frustrated with that one.
Would I really?
Oh yeah, if Elden Ring was triggering you that much.
Triggering? I think I was just not good at it. I mean, I beat it, so I guess I was good enough, but like, not great. I did the bare minimum, I would say, in the second half.
Antonio says, all over the world, people are hearing high-pitched voices proclaiming a cat's cuteness. I mean, Casper is so cute.
Wait, what? Oh, oh yeah, we have a lot of comments catch up on him. Like, that was a while ago.
Ella says, okay, hear me out. Josh and Tim as Witch Hat Atelier wizards with Astrid and Casper as familiars. Would love that.
Well, I joke that Josh looks like Quiffrey.
A little bit. Quiffrey's like a more masculine looking version of me, though, I feel like. If I had like a more defined jawline.
He's dreamy.
Very dreamy. Jen says, there exist so many cat pictures online that AI can generate unending cat pictures. We are not going to stop posting cat pictures because those AI cat pictures are not real cats. People enjoy cats.
Oh, that was specifically just for cats. You know what? Agreed.
You know, maybe that's where AI will really succeed, is just like very basic, cute things.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. EJ Dare says, you may not agree with this, but... I may not agree with this one, but my model that helped me to have confidence again in my drawings is, it has all been done before, but not yet by me. It has all been done before, but not yet by me.
I mean, yeah. And honestly, I don't need any of you to preface with you might not agree. I want you to state your opinions, even if you don't think I'll agree. So like, thank you for sharing. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what Babs was saying, where she was like, nothing is black or white with art anymore. Everything's like this middle gray zone. And I like the attitude you're bringing to it of like, even if the absolute truth, which we'll never know, but if it actually is that everything's been done before and nothing's original, I'm still going to do it in my way because that's how I want to do it. Love that. So I feel like you could see both sides of this debate, and that's probably the best way to look at if you see it as nothing original anymore and like still wanting to create, even though you know nothing's original anymore.
I think at the end of the day, everything in some root way will be taken from something else. But because it's you're bringing your originality into it because you're adding something different to what it was done before even. So like, you have a picture of the little gnomes holding dandelions. It's like, yeah, you may be like, oh, I really like that concept, but then you're going to enhance it and you're going to make it something even more different than that. So to me, that's then original because it's bringing your own flair into something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
Janisha says, so in my graphic design classes, we actually had a project recently where one of my classmates made some posters using AI, and the concept themselves were really cool, but I noticed a lack of substance. Since our cohort is small, we have an idea of their authentic work, so it didn't come across as strong as his other portfolio works.
Oh, interesting. I mean, just know we're still on like the very early edge, of what AR can make, you know. Like, it's still going to look a little rough, but, like, in 5 years, it's going to look pretty defined, I would assume. I mean, we'll see. I guess we'll get to see this journey live as we, you know, go through time now.
Antonio says, speaking of, I'll bet anything that other species will evolve to the point where we'll have a lot to answer for. Well, this is getting deep.
Yeah. I mean, love it.
That's like a conversation I feel like I need to be a little high for. Same with Oscar right now. By the way, modern AI is far from sentient or truly intelligent. They are artificial, not real. They mimic intelligence, and can be used in intelligent ways. A lot of AI is used to appeal to empathy, and babies will be grown in labs. The scary thing about AI is we might never know whether they are actually conscious or just perfectly designed to make us believe they are because we want them to.
Right. No, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's freaking bizarre, but it's something that I never thought we'd be getting even close to in my lifetime, at least. I was like, this is me something that, like, I'll be dead, long dead before it's even, like, a question. But we're kind of getting there. Like, we're almost there to where robots are going to be walking amongst us.
I mean, technology is progressing at such a rapid pace. It's going to be near impossible for us to keep up at some point. I mean, hell, even sometimes when I go into VR, I'm like, holy crap. Literally, when I was a kid, like, playing a Game Boy with an attachment light that had batteries was, like, the peak of technology for gaming at that point. Where, like, now you can literally immerse yourself in the world.
Oh my god, are we gonna be like our parents dealing with computers, but in the future when we're like
yes.
in our 80s, robots are gonna be a thing. We're like at the nursing home and our kids come to visit us, not that we're being kids. Our cats come to visit us and they're like, guys, you have to treat they're people too. And we'll be like, they're robots. They're robots, Johnny.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing more robots do like automation for cleaning stuff. I mean, obviously with the Roomba, but I think way more advanced ones. We'll see.
Well, yeah, I mean, my dad works with like factories, and even factory jobs have been like 50% replaced because of robots now. Like, why hire someone when you could just have a robot do it for free? It's crazy.
Well, not free. You'd still pay the upfront cost of the robot, yeah. But it would probably definitely pay off after like a few months of it working.
Make sure I'm not missing anything. Ella says, will we have relationships with robots in the future? That's a question we discussed in class, and I find it very interesting. I think we as humans can love robots for sure, but I doubt robots will ever get to the point where they can love something.
I mean, that's definitely the AI or the Black Mirror episode.
I think that's the part, and I know the discussion came out too, that I think for people that tend to be lonely or secluded or have like mental health conditions that keep them very secluded, that robots will be a way for them to have something to interact with. I think just for me personally, it comes back to authenticity. I guess it's something that you have too. I think you're never going to feel like this relationship's authentic because it's a programmed relationship.
You know what? We really need to watch Her because that's the whole question that it tries to answer.
Yeah. Jen says, tablet question. I find that I draw better with my hand when my hand directly touches the surface I draw on, so I'm considering getting a display tablet. But do I just need more practice to overcome this?
No, I do. I touch the tablet when I draw.
Most of them do have the option that it won't trigger it. It like just does the pen surface, right?
Wait, are we talking like a Cintiq or are we talking like a iPad? Because they are different.
Can you touch this with the iPad with your like palm?
So right now it won't do my finger.
It only does the pen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But if you're talking about just like resting your hand on, I actually don't know artists that say you're not supposed to rest your hand at all on the tablet. Maybe. I personally don't think it's that bad.
Elena says, having such opposite opinions on topics like abortion, same-sex marriage has driven a wedge in an old friendship of mine. And that's why I try to avoid having debates on those topics now.
So, I mean, this one's interesting because I think even stuff like that's still on the table for me because, like, okay, really good example. Josh's parents are not the biggest fan of Josh being a homosexual. But they treat us very, very well. I love Josh's parents, surprisingly.
They will say, probably going to hell.
Probably going to hell. So they're definitely on that side of the debate. But it's like, you know what? I will keep listening to their beliefs on it, and I'll keep showing, you know, what me and Josh's relationship means to us because in my mind, that's the way they grew up. That's the traditions and the beliefs that they grew up with. So to them, challenging that would be very difficult. So instead of like shoving my opinion down their throat, I'm just going to show what me and Josh's relationship is and how it's love. I want to take care of their son, and hopefully over the years at least it will soften maybe a little bit of their beliefs. But I think with people that have these extreme views on stuff that may be very personal, like obviously that's a very personal thing for Josh and I think even those still try to engage with in a positive manner.
Well, I think the issue with today's world too is if someone is pro-life or if someone does not agree with same-sex marriage, I think the issue is we then have this like moral view of them that they're just horrible people. Like we completely nullify every other aspect of this person. And I guess with my parents too, I see people do that to them that I know that like have talked about it where it's like, oh my God, they're horrible. And I'm like, they're actually not horrible people. This is something that I disagree with them on, but just because they're anti-gay doesn't mean they're these horrible people. There's so many other traits to my parents that I love and adore and I take from still.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like...
But I can also see what they... Or you go.
Sorry, I was just saying. The relationship, though, too, took work because when I first came out, it was really rough. And there was this period where we did not talk for a while. But I personally really wanted the relationship, and I found coming at them instead of this hostile way of, like, you have to agree with me, instead of coming back to them and being like, hey, we're going to be different on this, but I love you guys. Let's work through this. I mean, we are at a point now where we can talk and be good with each other. Yeah. There's awkwardness still. But I feel like that's just how I do it with friends, too, that I've had differences with. Because, like, I have friends that are surprisingly pro-life, which I don't personally agree with. But I feel like that doesn't make them a horrible person or that I can't be friends with them still. Because the reality is we're always going to have differences as people. Like, I don't want to make friends with someone, too, that just agrees with everything I agree with. Even hot topic issues, I guess. So
I do understand maybe what they're saying, though, is, like, that can be exhausting for a while. Like, especially something with, like, your parents where it's, like, a very upfront situation that, like, can't be avoided.
Yeah.
That can be exhausting. So, like, if you're feeling like the reason you don't want to get into these hot takes with people is because it physically drains you and, like, mentally just wipes you out, then, yeah, obviously don't explore it or, like, don't bring it up with other people. But if you're to the point maybe where you're like with Josh and I, where it's like, you know what, lead by example. And if it gets brought up, listen, try not to like inject too much of your own opinion first. Try to let them talk first. And then try to reason with them in a way that they might understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I've always believed in change people's opinions through actions, not words. So, like, if Josh's parents don't think gay people should be married, well, let me show you what a healthy, loving relationship looks like that happens to be two men, and maybe that'll change your opinion. Maybe it won't.
And if it doesn't...
that's fine. It's their loss. But either way, until that, like, I actually really like your parents, and they treat me very well. So, as long as we can keep this respect that's mutual, I'm totally okay with it right now.
Sazia says, why should someone have to debate their existence, especially when those opposed to their existence are willing to act on their opinions and become a valid threat on their life? Well, I guess for me personally, at the end of the day, I mean, I get where they're coming from. So I'm not... And I guess this is the thing, too. My existence, too, isn't just me being gay. So it's like...
That's one facet.
There's other aspects of me that they do... I don't know, that they do see. So I'm just talking from this specific topic. For me personally, my feeling on it is I don't feel like I'm debating my existence. I feel like it's something that they just disagree with, and it is something that's important in my life. And obviously, like, I'm planning to get married with Tim. We're gonna have a life together, and I'm happy there. And I focus on the things that are good in my life, and I don't focus on the fact that they disagree with it. And I'll just keep being an example to them, I guess.
Well, and like I do understand. I think it's easier for us to say this in the comfort living in like the northern states in America, where it's not only generally tolerated but generally accepted. I would say at this point, obviously, gay marriage is federally legal at this point.
Yeah, that's right too. I'm talking from like a personal 2022 perspective where I live and stuff. I think countries where it's criminalized, that's more than just a debate. Different. That's just coming down to like, that's just morally wrong to take lives purely because of that, or put in jail. So yeah, when it comes to that level, that's off the table.
Yeah, I guess we should state that we're coming from a very privileged.
Yeah, I'm talking from like living in Wisconsin in America, where you can legally get gay married. I don't know. Oh, yeah. I think you have to preface these things all the time now. I always forget that because it's like I'm not talking about like countries where it's not allowed.
Well, I think it's good to remember that, you know, we're speaking from an American place or point of view in Wisconsin, which is, you know, it's very much accepted, I would say, for the most part. Like it's rare for me to feel unaccepted in Wisconsin at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we do kind of usually have to preface this, and I guess since you're somewhat newer to the streams, it's like, yeah, that's what you kind of have to do. But I don't want the stream to end without us giving our thoughts on Elden Ring.
Oh, are we finishing with that?
Yes.
All right.
Because I said it at the beginning, so I don't want to leave that out. So timestamp it at the very end, 2:01. I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
So I played Elden Ring, finally beat it. I was a little over 70 hours at the end. My thoughts on it. Visually, I would say it's like a 10 out of 10 game. I know people say that nothing's perfect, but if we're doing on like a rating scale, to me, I think things can be a 1 and things can be a 10. Maybe that's a personal opinion, but to me, visually, Elden Ring's a 10 out of 10. Aesthetically and like the mood, 10 out of 10. Where it really falters for me, the gameplay, I was really not super into. This is kind of a hot take because I know a lot of From Software fans would say that that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be super difficult, and if you're not good, it's your own fault and blah, blah, blah. In my opinion, the gameplay after the 40-hour mark became really redundant for me. I was still using the same spell and the same sword that I was in the beginning, which maybe that's my fault as well. But being a sorcerer, I would gain new spells and abilities, but none of them seemed to be as good as the initial like quick spell that you learn because of the time casting and the amount of damage it would do and how much it costs to do it. It just felt like an easy spell to just keep using over like the advanced ones, which sometimes you'd have to stand in one place for a long time. And a lot of the bosses that you fight, they're so quick and they're so charging at you that you don't have time to cast them. So it's like, well, why am I even putting myself through this? So I heavily explored the world, and to the point where I was checking every corner for every flower, every mushroom. I thought I'd be like the crafting person in this game. But then after like 40 hours, or actually this was like the 50-hour mark, I was like, this seems pointless. I'm collecting all this stuff, but none of the things that you can craft are even, in my opinion, worthwhile in the boss battles. No one uses the bombs. No one's using those potions that I know of. The only thing that you're using are the physics file or whatever that's called, the wondrous physique or something, physic, and on the basic spell. And then sometimes like there would be some advanced ones that I could use if I was a little further away and had some time. But oh boy, I personally am not a fan of like repetitious boss battles or just killing things for hours at a time without it feeling like it's evolving or adapting. And once again, could be my fault in the way that I played. But being a sorcerer, I really felt limited in what I was able to do. And the game's so big that you're just doing this on repeat over and over. The best critique that I'll say that I think they could have changed really easily, besides the controller layout, which I think is horrendous, and they needed to change that. I look at games that I've played like BioShock, where you could see a boss in this case a big daddy from far away, and you could plan out how you would fight it. And you would think in an open world game like this, where there's so many things that you can collect, so many things you can craft and build upon, that you could kind of set the stage for how you would fight it, and it just was not there. You didn't have any bombs, any tripwires. I loved how in Bioshock, not only could you like set up these traps and like certain turrets in certain areas where you could like lead the big daddy to follow you and would hit these traps and the turrets would go off, but then you could lead him to like a puddle and then you could electrify the water and that would do like extra damage. There were things that you could do before the battle even began that would help you in the battle, where this one's like, if you can just master timing their moves and pressing circle to dodge roll, that's really the game. If you enjoy that aspect a lot, then you're going to love this game. But for me, I hate timing things like this. I feel like a lot of luck got involved. There were 2 boss battles I can think of where I don't even think I necessarily did the boss battle good. I just got lucky. I won't get into that, but those I would say are my biggest complaints, and I hate to say it, I think it's too big. By the time I got to the snow area, and the consensus I got from a lot of my friends is once you get to the snow area, a lot of people were just kind of done. They wanted it to conclude because you're just kind of repeating the same thing over and over again. And yeah, the environment was pretty, but it's like, okay, I'm already 70 hours deep. And for a lot of people, it was way more than 70 hours. I saw someone had like 170 hours into it. And it's like, ugh, okay, another zone where basically you're rinse, wash, repeating the same gameplay tactics that you've used since hour 1 for the most part. And I rushed the last like 5 hours. And it's such a complete contrast to the first like 40 hours that I played the game, where I was like scouring every corner, where near the end I was like, I just need to get over with. It felt like Final Fantasy 15 a little bit in the ending, where it just would not end. And there were like new bosses and bosses and bosses and bosses and bosses. And I'm like, what's even like, why am I even fighting you? There was like 2 of the bosses. I was like, why am I even fighting you? I don't even know. Maybe I wasn't paying attention well enough, but those would be my biggest gripes. And I think the way that you interact with the NPCs, I thought was a little archaic. It felt like the first World of Warcraft, where it's like you talk to someone, they would teleport, then you talk to them somewhere else, and then they teleport and you talk to them there. But it didn't really feel like I was getting to know the characters that well, so there wasn't a lot of like attachment to any of the characters for me besides maybe Reyna the Witch. But I didn't even complete her storyline. And actually the one that I felt the most, I really liked, well, I can't spoil anything. Never mind. The one that I kind of liked the most, we'll just say had a tragic end, and I was like, oh, well, I don't even know why you're dead, but here we are. So those are my thoughts on Elden Ring. I would still give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. But visually, just for the visuals alone, I would recommend it. Definitely.
I love LSS. I laugh so much at this. I love that the topics of the discussions have all been pretty loaded, like AI and art, AI and love, homosexuality, talking to those against it, and his art, and then my thoughts on this game. Freaking Elden Ring after all of that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so I'll preface to say I loved Elden Ring. It probably was like an 8 out of 10 for me. I think at first it was 9 out of 10. Looking back, I could say it was more 8. I liked the magic a lot compared to Dark Souls. And I think that's my issues. I'm going to be comparing a lot to Dark Souls now.
Which is fair.
I loved the magic in it. I played around with it more than Tim did. I think you found a spell and you just stuck with that one. I played around a lot with my spells throughout the game. I loved the world, obviously. I think everyone loves that. The bosses I thought were pretty good. Some repeats, which I got annoyed with.
What about like the tree sentinel? You fought him like 10 plus times.
My favorite zone was the Academy of Raya Lucaria. I love magic worlds, or like anything closely related to Hogwarts, I will be in love with. So I obviously liked that place the best. Snowfields, hate it. I think Felix, you just said that too. I hate snow zones in games. I don't know if you remember the old Donkey Kong games, but I hated the snow areas in those too. Always been a thing. So I hated that was like one of the last zones. Other gripes would be, actually Felix, you reminded me of this one too, but the world's so big. So in Dark Souls, it was so much easier to keep track of quests in that one. Where this, I think because the world is so big, I had to look at guides because there's no way some of these quests, because like I was really into Fia. I really wanted to follow her quest line, and I was like, I'm not gonna look at a guide for this one. I didn't see the rest of her quests until after I finished the game, so I couldn't even get some of the endings and stuff I wanted. That was my other gripe too. Was the endings?
Oh, the ending was terrible.
I got a really really bad ending, and it was literally because of one mistake I made, and it made the entire ending like the worst ending you could get in the game apparently. Things I loved. I loved having a horse. That was fun. Trying to think of
the horse was great. Torrent was my favorite part. Anytime I could get on the horse, it like improved the game for me. Every time they forced me to get off, lowered my enjoyment of the game.
I feel like your public how do you like? I feel like you had that rehearsed because you just gave your review like so perfectly. I'm just I have to like think about what my next part of the.
I feel like I'm just such a critical person when it comes to entertainment that I'm kind of following the same beats that I do for everything else. It's just different content.
Yeah, I don't know. It was one of those games that I loved it. It was fun to play. It was during cold months here. I got to play it. So it was like I had nothing else to do. So I got to just be in this world for a little bit. I think the immersion was really good. If you allowed yourself to just lean into it, you felt in the world.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for me. I did have some gripes. I think the combat, like Tim said too, I think if they created this new world, I think they held so tightly to their Souls combat style, but I think this world's so cool what they created. They could have made the combat feel more intuitive with the world then.
What was crazy to me... There you go.
Sorry. Yeah, this is my review, Tim.
There was a pause.
Okay, sorry. I think, for me, the animations could have been more fun. Especially for the magic. Like, I think they could have made it more fun with the staff, like swirling it around more, doing stuff with it, because this world feels so magical. Why not make the magic feel more magical too? But yeah, that's it.
I was going to say, my last thing that I'm now kind of remembering is when it comes to the bosses, like I said, I'm not a big timing fan in games. And all the bosses definitely felt like you just had to memorize their patterns and then press dodge at the right time. But a lot of these bosses would like do a fake swing, so they would like get ready, and then normally with other bosses they would swing right away. But in this one they would like do it and then do like an extra movement behind. I'm like, oh my god, I'd literally have to memorize every single boss pattern and the way that they move to beat it. So like that's how From Software wants you to play the game, which is frustrating because I like when games allow you to beat it the way that you strategize behind it. And that's why I know you're not the biggest fan, but I think BioShock is like 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It like allowed players to beat the big daddies in like the way and the style that they kind of creatively made. Where this game's basically like, no, he's got to dodge roll at the right time. And that's basically, and then in between the gaps of their animation, their moveset animations, you just go in and try to get a hit in. Whether it's magic or physical, doesn't matter. There were two bosses that stand out to me that actually I think were my favorites, and it was the Raya, Lucaria, what's her name? Renala. Specifically for the first half of the fight, it's a different gimmick. You have to fight the people that are crawling on the ground and they're throwing books, and then when you break her egg, she falls, and then you do some damage, and then she like goes in the air. And it was like a fun change of pace where like everything else was dodge roll at the right time, which fine. But for me, that was a nice change of pace. And then the snake battle where you have the sword that like does the further reach. At first, I didn't really understand. I didn't think I would like it because I thought it would be similar to like the previous boss battles. But then once I figured out that, because you guys were telling me to use the sword, that was actually pretty fun. But it was the only kind of two gimmicks in the whole game where every other boss battle is just dodge at the right time. So that's my personal opinion on it. Anyways, I still love it. I'm going to remember this game for a long time. After thinking about it, I will play the DLC, especially if we're doing it together. And visually, I think 10 out of 10. I would recommend it to any artist playing this game, but just know it's very frustrating. It is a very frustrating game.
Up to finishing Raya Lucaria, it was 10-10 for me. Capital was also great.
Same.
I would say, I think the snowfields, when it started going down for me, because that area was miserable for me. And plus...
Well, don't say anything else about that endgame stuff.
Okay. Yes.
Anyways. Okay, so that is our live stream today. Thank you, guys. I know we went a little over today. Like we said, next week we'll do a hair one, so I'll probably do a few different variations of hair, so if you want to draw alongside me, that is what we'll be doing. And I think it's good to try out different ways of creating here. So maybe that'll be a fun thing for you to do. I'm trying to think if there are any other announcements. I'll probably post the Death Maiden drawing that I'm working on later tonight. I just got to scan her and then work on her. And yeah, you can follow all my socials below. Please like the video before you leave. That always helps the algorithm on YouTube. I'm sure you've heard this from other YouTubers before. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you next week. Oh, I know. We are doing another critique stream, but it's going to be outside of the Wednesday streams. It's Tuesday, May 25th, I believe I wrote down, or the 26th, whatever that Tuesday is. And that will be our next critique stream. So I'm going to be critiquing Patreon submissions.
May 24th?
24th. There's the one. So if you are a Patreon member, or maybe you're not and you would like me to critique one of your things, you can join even on the lowest tier and submit on the private Discord. So I'll be doing that on that Tuesday.
Hi, Felix. Have a good trip. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Take care, Felix. Okay. And to everyone else, thank you so much for coming. I love doing this with you guys. I'm sure Josh feels similarly.
Oh, yeah. No, I love all of you. You guys are so much fun to hang out with. So thank you.
Yeah. All right.
You make the stream fun. So thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone. And hopefully you'll see you next week.
All right.
Bye. Bye.